Good morning, Little Masters, and welcome back to today's Tolkien Times. I'm the Man of the West, also from the Prancing Pony podcast. Now, while we are taking a break from First Age Friday and the Lay of Lathian to go back to Fandom Fridays, we are nearing the end of our time with Eldarion and Erendis in this series. So let's get going with Week 53's Second Age Saturday. We'll pick up where we left off at the end of Week 52, after King Meneldur has resolved to step down and hand the scepter to his son, Eldarion. When the council came together, after 7 days had passed, Tar Meneldur acquainted them with his resolve, and laid the scroll before them. Then all were amazed, not yet knowing what were the courses of which the king spoke, and all demurred, begging him to delay his decision, save only Halatan of Hierostorni, for he had long held his kinsman Eldarion in esteem, though his own life and likings were far otherwise, and he judged the king's deed to be noble, and timed with shrewdness, if it must be. But to those others who urged this or that against his resolve, Meneldur answered, "Not without thought did I come to this resolution, and in my thought I have considered all the reasons that you wisely argue. Now and not later is the time most fit for my will to be published, for reasons which, though none here has uttered, all must guess. Forthwith, and let this decree be proclaimed, but, if you will, it shall not take effect until the time of the Erukirme in the spring. Till then, I will hold the scepter." When news came to Emerie of the proclamation of the decree, Erendis was dismayed, for she read therein a rebuke by the king in whose favor she had trusted. In this she saw truly, but that anything else of greater import lay behind, she did not conceive. Soon afterwards there came a message from Tar Meneldur, a command indeed, though graciously worded. She was bidden to come to Armenelos, and to bring with her the Lady Ancalame, there to abide at least until the Erukirme and the proclamation of the new king. "He is swift to strike," she thought, "so I should have foreseen. He will strip me of all, but myself he shall not command, though it be by the mouth of his father." Therefore she returned answer to Tar Meneldur, "King and father, my daughter Ancalame must come indeed if you command it. I beg that you will consider her years, and see to it that she is lodged in quiet. For myself, I pray you to excuse me. I learn that my house in Armenelos has been destroyed, and I would not at this time willingly be a guest, least of all upon a house ship among mariners. Here then permit me to remain in my solitude, unless it be the king's will also to take back this house." This letter Tar Meneldur read with concern, but it missed its mark in his heart. He showed it to Eldarion, to whom it seemed chiefly aimed. Then Eldarion read the letter, and the king, regarding the face of his son, said, "Doubtless you are grieved, but for what else did you hope?" "Not for this at least," said Eldarion. "It is far below my hope of her. She has dwindled, and if I have wrought this, then black is my blame. But do the large shrink in adversity? This was not the way, not even in hate or revenge. She should have demanded that a great house be prepared for her, called for a queen's escort, and come back to Armenelos with her beauty adorned royally, with a star on her brow. Then well nigh all the Isle of Numenor she might have bewitched to her part, and made me seem Madman and Churl. The Valar be my witness, I would rather have had it so. Rather a beautiful queen to thwart me and flout me, than freedom to rule while the Lady Elistirne falls down dim into her own twilight." Then, with a bitter laugh, he gave back the letter to the king. "Well, so it is," he said. "But if one has a distaste to dwell on a ship among mariners, another may be excused dislike of a sheep farm among serving women. But I will not have my daughter so schooled. At least she shall choose by knowledge." He rose and begged leave to go. Well, first off, this decision has clearly caught the king's council by surprise. Note that we're told right away that they don't know the courses of which the king spoke. That is, they don't know that Gil-galad and the elves need their help in Middle-earth. And so, maybe because they feel they don't have all the facts, they ask Tar Meneldur to hold off. All except one guy, Halatan. Now, interestingly, much later in this story, we will discover that it is Halatan's son, Halakar, who ends up marrying Ankalame, though their marriage is, if such a thing could be possible, even less happy than that of her parents. And so, as a compromise of sorts, Meneldur concedes to not having this declaration take effect until spring, but he wants it announced immediately. Now, that announcement hits Erendis pretty hard. She doesn't know a thing about Gil-galad, the elves, or the reason behind the king's decision, but that doesn't stop her from taking it personally and seeing it as an attack. So when she's invited to come, she refuses, and her letter, pretty full of snark, is shown to Aldarion, once again prompting me to ask, why don't these two speak directly? I will say that Aldarion's response, there's part of it I actually really like. He genuinely would rather she be a strong and beautiful queen, making demands, making him look like an idiot, than to have her falling into this dark state of bitterness. And I almost think he understands when he says, if I have wrought this, then black is my blame. But dude, if, of course you wrought this, and you wrought it over and over and over with every voyage and every missed promise. Now, that little bit of the story that I just read is actually it for the completed portion of the tale of Aldarion and Erendis. But trust me, there is a lot more to come. We're actually going to take the rest of this series to finish up this story. For now, though, that does it for this week's Second Age Saturday. Thank you for joining me, and be sure to come back next week as we look at the fragments of the story that continue from here, including Aldarion's later voyages. Please visit patreon.com/TolkienTimes to learn how you can support the show, get an ad-free feed, join my content council, get a bonus episode every week, and more. And please, if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. Please follow or subscribe in your podcast apps, and follow @TolkienTimes on all your social media. Finally, as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.